Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is DBT series chapter 3, wherein we are going to study about DBT sources and important DBT commands. Now, coming back to the earlier video in which we learned about how to create our very first model, how to do DBT setup and all, and going to the staging model that we created, here you can see, right, in the select statement, right, where I'm selecting the data from the table, I have given the fully qualified name. Now, take a scenario in which you have 100 plus models, 100 plus staging models, or 100 plus, another intermediate models. And in all of those models, when you are selecting the data, you are actually giving the fully qualified table name. What if, schema change happened, right? Or a database change happened. In that case, you have to manually change it, right? And that is going to be a very hectic job, right? So, in order to facilitate this, DBT has this concept called sources, which helps you to define your data prior to loading into the actual model, right? So, let me write it here. So, it helps us to define our data, or you can say declare, your tables in a YAML file, right? Now, in this sources file, we can also describe our tables, right? We can also say describe the data of the table. What does it mean? Simply, we can write the table level description as well, right? Now, what are the benefits of doing that? So, right? So, when we declare the data, when we declare the tables in the YAML file, we can, in the models, we can directly make use of this function called source, right? So, this is the source function, and this is the syntax of the source function. Inside that, your source name will come into place, which is this one, and then your table name will come into place, which is this one, right? And in quotes, right? So we can simply utilize this function, and we can provide our source name and our table name. It will be more clear when I will be creating my source file. So let us jump into this staging, which is the ground layer of our data extraction, or we can say data reading. So here I will be clicking on three dots in the staging model. I will be creating a file, and for the simplest naming convention, I will be saying it sources.yaml. Okay, and I will be hitting on create. Okay, the very first formula is the very first, the format of the sources is very simple. You have to just write sources here. Okay, you have to give a name of your sources. By default, it will be the source name will be same as your schema name, but you can name it accordingly, right? So just uh, stay focused here how I'm writing it. We have to define the name of the source, right? So let us say, and in today's video also, I will be taking this same table, which is our this post event data. Okay, and for creating this sources YAML file, I'm taking this Google Events database and attendance records, right? And if you want to get the definition, you can click on that I button, and you can watch my previous video to get the table definition. Now I will be naming as event attendance. Please note that my schema name is attendance records, and I am naming the source as event attendance. It's totally up to you. You can name it as same as schema name. Also you can name it other than different than schema name, right? So it totally depends on the scenario. Now let me write the database name. So we have to simply write the keyword database colon, and then we have to hit a space. So our database name is Google Events, right? Now let me write my schema name. So I will be writing the keyword schema, then colon, and I will be writing the exact schema name, which is attendance records. That's it. Our sources.yaml, the main part is defined. Now what I have to do, whatever tables I need from my database and schema, I have to declare them, right? So I will be writing tables. Okay, so the keyword is tables here, not the table, right? Now underneath I will be writing the name of the table which I need. Currently there is one table which we have created, which is post event data, right? Now I can also write the description of this table, right? So for this, let me write the description of this table. And we can say, right, okay, let's say this table contains post event data. And how this description plays a role, dbt has another feature, which is dbt documentation. So when we build our dbt project, right, we also can create dbt documentation, for which we do have a command as well that will generate a proper documentation of your project. Okay, wherever your description has inside your sources.yaml file, right, or in your schema.yaml file, it will provide all of that. It's just like a metadata of your entire dbt project. What it does, what is the function of this table, or what is the function of that particular model, right? So it does play a very important role uh, when it comes to the code documentation. So this is your sources.yaml file that has been created, okay, with the tables defined. Now I will be clicking on save. My sources.yaml file has been saved, and now you can see here how it is depicting event attendance, which is my source name, right? Dot post event data, which is my table name. Okay, now how to utilize this source function and not the fully qualified table name inside my staging model, right? So what I'll do, I'll just erase this part. I will be using the source function which we discussed, open and close braces. Now what is my name of the source, which is event attendance. Okay, I will be clicking on this, and then I will be naming my table name, which is post event date. That's it. So it is some way making our jobs easy. Instead of writing the entire qualified name, we have to just define the table name and our source name. Now what it will do, let me just save it, and let me just do the compile for you. What it does, while compiling, dbt internally makes it into a fully qualified name. So it goes to that sources.yaml file, you know, check that source name, check what is that database inside that source name, the schema name and the table name, and it compiles and drill down to the fully qualified table name internally, right? So this is what happens the underneath. Let me just build it just to show you it goes to a success level. Right, so it got success, right? And a table, sorry, and a view has been created. So here we can see created SQL view, your schema name dot your model name. Now there is another feature that we can add to this sources.yaml file, which is test feature, right? Now I will create a separate video about dbt test, but for now I just want to show you something which will be useful in the later section of the video. Let me create the test in this sources.yaml file. Let us say in this staging model, right, I want that no topic name, that is coming from that snowflake table should be null. If it is null, my model should have been my model should be failed, and I will get to know that okay, this is a null record, and I can get back to that vendor who sent that loaded that data into Snowflake, right? So what I'll do, I can define the test right here with the keyword called test. I will write the test, and I will write it not null. Okay. Now this not null, I decided for a column called topic name, right? So it has to be for a specific column. So I will write columns here. I will write name of the column here. Name of the column is my topic name, right? And my test will be not null. So this test should be one step ahead, right? So whenever you are doing a syntax mistake, right, DBT will let you know that this is something incorrect and you need to fix that. So I will just save it. So in this way, you have defined that whenever you are doing a build, right, this your particular model is going to include that test which has been defined under your sources.yaml file, which is not null. So it says that your topic name should be a not null value. Let's talk about source freshness. So let me write it here. Source freshness. So you can call it as a amount of time between the most recent record of a table and now, which is the current timestamp. Okay, so that we can define the freshness of the table. Okay, what I mean to say is, so let's say there is a table. In our case, it is post event data, right? Now I loaded I loaded some 100 records on day 1. Let's say I have defined in my sources.yaml file that I should get a warning if no records has been added in another 24 hours or in another 1 day, right? And I should get a error that if no records has been added in another 2 days, right? So it checks the freshness of the data using this freshness block that we can define in a sources.yaml file. So how to define it? Again, it can be defined, we can define on a entire database, entire schema level, given that your column on the basis of which you're checking the source freshness is same. What I mean to say is, so in our table, right, wherein we had 4 columns, which is topic name, has registered, has attended, student name, I added another one using this alter table command, which is row loaded at, right? And I just added a timestamp. You can also add a current timestamp. Okay, so let's say I added a current timestamp and I updated the value like this, right? So once it is populated, we have one timestamp which says that at this moment this entire row was populated, right? So to define our freshness block, or for the DBT to capture the snapshot, we need that timestamp column so that it can test the freshness, right? So how to do that? So this is you have to get into the same indentation where your table name starts, and I will write freshness here. So to define freshness, I need 3 parameters. One is warn after. I need a warning. I will give count. So this is the format, count 1, and period can be days, minutes, and hours, right? So I'm giving a day. So I need a warning if no new records has been added in another 1 day, right? So how it will calculate, how it is going to calculate, and the second parameter is error after. Here I will say count 2 and period day, and I also need to give a loaded at field, right? So I will be giving it loaded at field, which is row loaded at. This block will be coming under here, okay, which is the same indentation as my table name is, as you can see. Now I will be clicking on save, right? Now I have defined it. What if you want to test it the source freshness and you have recently added a record, right? And after that, just to check, you are adding another just piece of some records or 5 records or something like that. What you have to do, you have to just check dbt source freshness, right? Now this is going to check the source freshness because we have not selected an entire a particular model. So this is going to do for the entire tables that we have defined in the sources.yaml file. But as we have only one table, it has taken only that table, right? So because I have so here you can say, right, it has given me a warning, warn freshness of event attendance dot post event data, right? So because I added the records, I didn't added any records in another 24 hours which I have defined in my sources.yaml file. It has given me a warning. So here you can say how it internally calculated. So this is a query which it runs. Select max of row loaded at, which is the field I defined, the timestamp field which I defined in the loaded at field section. Then it is taking the current timestamp, right? And it is declaring it as snapshot data from your table name, right? So using this, snapshot, which is calculating every time we are running this source freshness, right? So it is giving the warning or the error, right? So in our case, it has given me the warning, right? So let's say if I don't push any records in another, 1 day, then it will give me a warning that you have not, there is no records. There is another error you might get, in some cases, that is tail error, right? So in case of tail error, it identifies that it says that there is no record in the table, right? So make sure that you are mindful of the timestamp you are entering while testing your data, right? It cannot be like you are entering, so let's say if today is 7, right? Sorry, if today is 26, right? And if I write it here, let's say 11, which is this, right? If I update the entire row like this, and then if I will check the let me do this and show you. So let's say I have updated this, all my entire row has been updated with the 11th of July, right? But what I have given, that warning and error should be up to these time periods. So let me run the source freshness command now. So here you can say it has been failed, right? Because it is not able to identify any records in the table, right? Because it has calculated the snapshot, right? It is not able to identify any records. So while you are testing, it has to be the, just put it a current timestamp, right? Hope that is clear. If you have any questions regarding this source freshness, you can put it in the comments and I will be happy to answer that. So this section completes the DBT sources. Now let's get into the important DBT commands, which is uh, dbt build, dbt compile, dbt parse, and dbt run. So these four commands we are going to check today. So let me erase this entire section. Okay. So now our first command is dbt. So we are looking into dbt commands. So we have two types of dbt command. Okay, before jumping into the commands, we have two types category, which is write, and the second one is dbt read commands. Now what is the difference between these two? So in the write command, what happens, these will perform actions that change data or metadata in your data platform. Okay, so commands which perform actions based on changed data or metadata in your data platform, which in our case is Snowflake, right? Now another feature of dbt write command is we can invoke only one command at a time, right? We cannot run these write commands parallelly, right? So invocation only one at a time, right? So once your dbt write command finishes, then only you can enter another dbt write command or another dbt read command. So that was the most important part here. This is also to prevent any potential conflicts that can happen while overwriting your table or updating your table in your data platform. Now let me give some examples which we are going to look today. Your first command is write command is dbt build, which we are going to take in detail, and your second command is dbt run. Okay, so these two are the examples of dbt write commands. Now let's look into the dbt read commands. Okay, in opposite to the dbt write commands, in dbt read commands you can have multiple invocations parallelly, right? So let me write it here. So we can have multiple invocations parallelly. Okay, so let's say in one model, if I am running this read command in another second model, without waiting for the completion of my earlier read command, I can enter another read command. Okay, so that is the benefit of read command. So what does dbt read command do, right? So these will invoke operations without reading data or making any changes in your data platform, right? So this is not going to read any data, or neither it is going to make any changes, right? Now few examples of dbt read command, which is dbt parse and dbt compile, right? So dbt build command will help us to run models. It will also help us to test models. It will help us to snapshot our snapshots. Now snapshot is a dbt feature which helps us to track the data changes. It will also help us to seed seeds. Seeds is another dbt component which is type of a csv file which we can load into our model or table. Now whenever we run dbt build command, it always runs in the DAG order, right? From the very left to the very right, always runs in the order. Also, it supports various parameters, right? So with build, so let's say I don't want to run the entire project, I want to run only the particular model, right? Or I want to exclude some of the models while I want to run the entire models. So it supports various parameters. Let's look into that. First parameter is dbt build hyphen hyphen select, and we can give here our model name. Okay. Second parameter that is available is, let's say I want to run the entire project but I want to exclude some of the models or some model inside some folder, right? So that facilitates with. Now we have another parameter which is selectors. In opposite to the select command, okay, selectors are predefined selectors. Selectors are way to predefine what we want to include or what we want to exclude, right? So let's say I have defined one selector in my one YAML file in which I give one tag to my certain, let's say staging folder, right? And using this selector I will just type name of that selector and it will run that particular models only, right? So the search selector, you can take it as an advanced version of select. With that we also have resource type. So I want to run my entire project but not my models, I want to run only my tests, so I will use this resource type. I want to run only my seed, I want to run only my snapshot. So like that you can use this resource type parameter. Important part is DBT builds comes with indirect selection of test as well. Okay, so when you do a DBT build here, so let me do a DBT build. DBT build not only will include all the, so not only include will all the models that are present in your directory, it is also going to include the test you have defined in the project, right? So this is one type which we have defined in the sources.yaml file, so it includes that as well. So this is one of the important concept. With that, let's come to run command. Okay, so we have this dbt run command. Now what does dbt run commands will do? So it will execute. Okay, so it is going to execute your compiled SQL code against the target data warehouse which is defined, right? Against the target database. Okay, so this is the function of dbt run command. Also, not only that, it also materialize the models. What does it mean materialize the model? So we have in dbt project.yaml file, right? So let's say I am saying that in my final folder materialized all models to a table, right? So in that case, if I run my dbt run command and if I say that run this particular model, right? So if I copy this particular name, so okay, so here you can say it has defined a table. Okay, why? Because the materialization has been defined, right? So this is the function of dbt run command. Now another important thing is here is, just like dbt build command, it also runs in order, right? One important part is, while we deploy new models again and again, in order to minimize the amount of time when the model is not available, what it does, how it creates a new version of the model is, firstly, it creates the model with a temporary name, then it drops the existing model, okay, and after that it is going to rename the model, right? Most important part, this drop and rename comes under 1 db transaction. Okay, so this is about dbt run command. Now let us look into the dbt parse command and dbt compile command. Let me erase all this. Okay, so now we have dbt parse command. As the name suggests, it is only going to parse and validate your SQL code. Parse and validate your SQL code. It doesn't need any connection to your database or data warehouse. Connection to your DB not required. Okay. So in case without connecting to your database, you want to validate your code, whether you have some Jinja in it, whether you have some YAML file, syntax error in it or SQL errors, you have to use dbt parse command. Now, in addition to that, let's look into the dbt compile command. Okay, so dbt command compile code is going to generate the executable SQL. Okay, so I think we have so this is what we discussed in the last video, this compile feature. Whenever we do a selection, let's say I want to select only this particular thing and I want to click on this compile selection, it is going to generate this executable SQL, right? So this is the function of dbt compile. So we have another important section which is interactive compile. Interactive compile. Now let's say if we want to test some inline query, which we are thinking that this can be the error, right? So in that case we can say dbt compile hyphen hyphen inline, and we can give our some query name. So let's start from, okay, this let's say table A join table B, something like that. Okay, so in that way we can use the compile command interactively. So we can also do this, select our model name. Okay, so these are the two methods by which you can use compile command interactively. And this is for today's video. Just to summarize what we have learned dbt sources, we have little bit idea of how dbt test works. We also know that what is the main difference between dbt run and dbt build, which is dbt run is not going to include your test, but dbt build is also going to include your test, your snapshot, your seeds, right, and your models, of course. We have learned dbt run command, we have learned dbt parse command, we have also learned dbt compile command, right? So that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next video in which we are going to learn more advanced features of dbt. Thanks for watching.